What's up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, March 24th. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What is up, everybody? It feels like I was just here with you, and there were some other people as well.
It's been one of those days, right? We had some breaking news, so to speak, earlier this morning. We hopped on live. Of course, go look on our YouTube page right now. You can find the Bob Baffert reaction. Yeah, you are. You know what? You might be. You gave me shit about being like the number one Taba, fan supporter, Bob Baffert supporter. Well, you are the Messier supporter here. You are Team Baffert. Actually, you're not Baffert. You're Team Yakteen. Messier, what do you think? The news: Messier, Doppelganger, and McLaren-Vale out of the Bob Baffert barn.
We're coming at you. That's what I think. We're coming for you. Coming for all you chumps now. Me and Tim Yakteen, we're buddies all of a sudden. No, if you're going to get serious about this, it's good that we get to see the best horses on the first Saturday in May. Potentially. They still have to earn it, right? And they'll get their opportunities too. But it's good. Listen, I Baffert or not, you hate him, you love him, whatever. You want the Kentucky Derby to have the best 3-year-olds that are running at that time. And Messier certainly is one of them. And like I said, he has to prove it. He has to go out and get the points in the San Diego Derby, but at least he's going to get that opportunity too. So in that regard, I think we won as horse racing fans. And then, let's just see what happens afterwards. Obviously, kind of ridiculous. It's a former Bob Baffert assistant that gets the horses. So everybody knows what's going on here, right? I mean, it's BS, but at least Messier gets that chance.
Run, you little bitch.
I mean, he gets a chance, right? I think it seems like from what we've heard and kind of what makes sense, you're going to see, McLaren-Vale was the interesting one out of those three because, Doppelganger's obviously ran in some stakes and, is maybe a little bit of a cut below, so to speak, but he definitely is, considering this crop, belongs in the mix. Messier, obviously, we assumed was going to the San Diego Derby, whether he was going to win points or not, or could win points or not. So him going there, but the McLaren-Vale, who's kind of had that hype all year, most of the year, but has literally done nothing, was going to go to Oakland, couldn't go there because he freaked out and shipping. Thought we were going to go to Southern Derby, didn't happen again. So now it sounds like McLaren-Vale is going to run in the San Diego Derby as well with Messier. Doppelganger might go to the Arkansas Derby, which makes sense. Bob Baffert, Tim Yakteen, he ships there all the time, right? So it's going to be hard for me to not just keep calling these Bob Baffert horses because that's what they are. But McLaren-Vale, real quick, that's interesting, right? I mean, for a horse that's done nothing to make that switch, because actually, basically, any horse that made the cut to be switched means that he thinks it's a really good horse.
Okay, sort of. I think it just means that these are my horses that are pointing for Derby preps in the last 3 weeks. I don't know that it really means now. Obviously, naturally, those would be your better horses, right? But I think it was kind of McLaren-Vale is going to run in the San Diego Derby. What difference does it make if he's under me or under Yakteen? Maybe he gets in, maybe he gets second or third and he can go. So I don't know. I think people kind of jump to conclusions like, oh, these are the four. No, it's the 4 that right now are going to Derby preps, right? So the more I thought about it, I thought it is still kind of weird that McLaren Vale made that list, but so did Blackadder, and I don't think that horse is that good. But it's just, hey, we're going to go to a Derby prep with him. I want him to have a chance to qualify. So I think it's just more of a where they're pointing at this point. Hey, why not give him that shot? Because they're not going to have that shot with me.
Well, yeah, because horses like Newgrange and some of these horses that that have tried and failed for Bob Baffert. It's like, okay, well, I'm not wasting, a horse like Taba, who a lot of people are talking about. He's obviously behind, he's too late now, so he's not going to waste his time transferring that horse. So these are the horses, kind of like what you're saying is the time is right now for this horse to still get into the Derby. And, and all he has to do, obviously, you've got Forbidden Kingdom going to be running in the Stanton Derby, but he really just needs to finish top 3 would be dicey, but if he just can run 1, 2 in the Stanton Derby, those horses get in. So I don't know. Like this is a win. Today's a win for Bob Baffert, and it's a big loss for Churchill Downs because no matter how you slice it, everyone knows that this is Bob Baffert that's got these horses that are going to run in the Kentucky Derby. Maybe his name's not on there if one of these horses wins. Messier really is the only one I think that can do it, but it's still for all of history. Everyone's going to know that wasn't really Yakteen training that horse. That was Bob Baffert.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, like I said, they kind of made the rule where this was going to happen, right? I mean, they didn't really give the owners any other choice. It wasn't hey, they got to wait, they got to be out of Baffert's hands 90 days, right? Let's face it, Churchill just kind of made up these rules.
Yeah.
Right? There isn't like a guideline for this. So
that would have been if they were smart, they would have done that.
I mean, this is going to happen. So you're right. They're kind of losers in the whole deal because they haven't really prevented, Bob Baffert. Tim Yakteen is basically Bob Baffert Jr., right? I mean, the guy's an assistant. The guy is friends with him. We were talking about it earlier. Bob Baffert probably waved goodbye, and then the horse just circled right around and went right back to his But now Tim Yakteen's the trainer. Like, Baffert's still training the horses. Let's not get crazy about this, right?
Yeah, and I mean, these horses will be trained by Bob Baffert until basically they step foot on Churchill Downs, which will be like 3 days before the race.
Yeah.
Like they'll have one breeze around the track and out. So they're not, even Yakteen can't fuck that up, right? Like he's just gonna just get him there and let him run. So to me, but like you say, it didn't really prevent it either. I mean, if you say like 90 days or something, like this horse has to be, have the trainer switch has to be within 90 or has to be at least 90 days prior to the Kentucky Derby or whatever that case may be. Maybe you limit something like this because the news came out earlier this week with Churchill basically, saying or I guess the ruling with the courts upholding with what Churchill's the ban, and so that kind of I think that was the final attempt that Baffert had to kind of still get these points for these last preps, and now he's like, okay, well now the time has come. We've got to do something now. Either whether it's him that encouraged it or the owners. I imagine SF Racing who has ownership in all of these horses, made this switch all at the same time, right? Once that kind of, because and I think you made a point on, I think it was you made a point on the show, or on the live, like when we did a live show earlier this morning, like it shows, because all year we kind of wondered, gosh, if they're not going to do anything, kind of tells you they don't really give a shit about the Derby, like it means more to stay put. But today it showed us that no, the Derby is still a very, very prestigious, very, very important race, that they would still try to make the switch no matter how shady it might be, that they still want to run, say, Messier in the Kentucky Derby.
That was the biggest relief to me, because their actions before this was kind of telling you, hey, and they're a big ownership group, right? They're a big part of the game, whether you like them or not. Their actions were telling you, hey, we don't care about this. We'll just skip it. We'll go to the Preakness. And then all of a sudden, And I think it speaks volumes that 4 horses, like I said, you talked about McLaren Vale and how, well, he hasn't even done anything. Yeah, but they still want to run that horse in the Derby, right? So this horse broke the maiden, hit the board in a one-turn, graded race, and now let's say finish the second or third in, a San Diego Derby. Well, that's a horse a lot like we were assuming. Well, they won't even say the hell with that. Like, don't even worry about it. No, that signals that, hey, if he gets in, no matter what, we want to run that because we want to be in the biggest race of the year. So the Kentucky Derby is a big winner as far as the entity itself because it means something. Like they just told you basically, we want to get as many horses there as we can.
Yeah, some of these comments coming in, it's definitely going to be, like Mark says, like NBC's, like that's the thing. There's going to be a ton of coverage of this race day. Say if Messier, just imagine Messier wins the San Diego Derby, like we probably expect would happen. Most people, including yours and my number one horse right now, he would not change. He would likely be the favorite of the Kentucky Derby. And so you're going to be talking about the favorite of the Kentucky Derby being a Bob Baffert horse that's not trained by, you know what I mean? That it's going to add so much kind of bullshit commentary, which is kind of a bummer. But at the same time, you do want the horse in. And to another point that Mark said, Churchill does lose because kind of the whole point. I don't know if it's necessarily they don't want his horses to run. They don't want his horses to run because they don't know that, they don't trust that they're on the up and up. And if these horses are literally being trained by him up until the moments before, basically, nothing really changed.
Exactly. And that point is spot on. And that's been the thing that we've kind of preached today. But the big thing about the NBC coverage and what people need to realize is whether he had horses there or not, they were going to cover him, right? Mm-hmm. They were going to. And the bottom line is he equals ratings. Even in our little world, we've started doing YouTube videos and really focusing since last November. Magic and I did a video on a Monday in January, and it's done 2 times more than any other video we've ever done. And that's including a Triple Crown winner for the first time in 37 years, crossing the wire live while Jared and I was there. It's done 3 times more views than that because Bob Baffert is a polarizing figure, and those type of figures mean ratings. So he's going to get coverage no matter what, and he will continue to until he's out of the limelight, right? So there's not a lot you could have done to prevent that no matter what. And this will make it worse without any question, but they were going to cover it. He's a story no matter what happens.
So what a lot of people are asking as well, like I assume what will happen is Yak Team will train these horses, let's just say Doppelganger and Messier are in the Kentucky Derby. He trains these horses after the Kentucky Derby. Do they go right back to? I guess it would depend too. If Messier wins, obviously you'd be rooting, or they'd be going for the Triple Crown. Or at least they'd go to the next leg. So will Maryland hold up the on their end in terms of what Churchill Downs is doing and with not allowing him to run? So will he switch back to Bob Baffert and then run in the Preakness? Will he stay with Yak Team? Will other Baffert horses? That's the other thing too. Think of a horse like Taba, who a lot of people are assuming, myself included, allowance Preakness. Well, if Maryland holds up the ruling of, well, I'm not going to let Bob Baffert run here, which has not necessarily been determined yet, then any of these horses that aren't trained by, that are trained by Bob Baffert can't run in the Preakness.
I think the easiest answer to a very complicated question, for sure, because of just the unknown of what's going to happen with these legal proceedings. But I think the best way I can answer it and the most clearest way I can answer it, when Bob Baffert is eligible to train horses, they will be right back in his barn. That's my question. That's my answer. I don't know if that's the Preakness, the Belmont. I have no idea what that answer is. But as soon as he is eligible, or if he's eligible, as soon as the Derby's over, they'll go right back to him. That's my prediction on this. That's why I said all along, we looked at this wrong early on. We were like, well, they got to get this these horses to Pletcher and he's got to get his hands on them and he's got to get them going. No, that's not what they want. They want a fictional paper trainer. And that's evident from who they've transferred the horses to. So that tells you as soon as Baffert's back and eligible, they're going right back to it.
Yeah, and imagine a scenario. We'll end it with this because I don't want to keep talking about. We got plenty. I mean, if you want to go listen more of the coverage, we did this on our YouTube page. Just look, or just type in Bob Baffert, will pop up on YouTube. But think of this scenario. I'll let you guys kind of bask in this as we move on. Imagine Messier wins the Kentucky Derby for Yak Team. Then imagine he switches right back to Bob Baffert and wins the Preakness. He's not going to have any other horse run in the race now because, he's got a chance. Goes right back. What does Naira do? How do they how do just imagine Messier going for the Triple Crown in a year that we all know Bob Baffert trained this horse in the Kentucky Derby. You talk about the ultimate slap in the face. So anyways, think about it. It could be
I don't have an answer.
It could be wild. So if nothing else, it's must watch television for the Triple Crown this year. And lo and behold, who's behind it? Bobby B. So there you go.
Of course.
Today's show, let's get to it. We're going to preview the $1 million Louisiana Derby. Hey, no Bob Baffert's in that one. At Fairgrounds and the $12 million Dubai World Cup at Meydan Racecourse. Then we're going to give some rapid fire selections for the remaining Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks prep races across the globe. That's right, including the $1 million Grade 2 UAE Derby, the 400K Grade 2 Fairgrounds Oaks, which of course Echo Zulu makes her big return in, and the 500K. Oh, this is the big one. Grade 3 Sutherland Park Derby. Stay tuned for that. Let's go. That one's a doozy right there, guys. You don't get Baffert there, but you get some. What is his name? Whatever.
Well,
Andy horse.
I said this earlier to you guys a couple of months ago. It's like I'm all for it. Just bring the chaos, because this has all been created by Baffert and Churchill, and this monster has been created by ourselves, right? Like letting him get away with this over and over and over. We've created this monster. The monster's out, and he's rearing his ugly head, and it's really horse racing's fault. So bring the chaos. Let's see how stupid this gets, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's a mess. And if you didn't think this could get to there, then you're very new to racing, because it was just like a perfect storm. And with, and like, not to continue to say the same thing we say for years, but yeah, it's, a central governing organization. Without having one, we just kind of throw shit against the wall and we see what sticks and what would, it's like, hey, this works and this doesn't work. There's no way to rule on anything, because then you challenge it in the courts and we find out a year later whether or not it was, it was okay or not. And it's all bullshit, really. So,
Yep. We've created it and now it's here. And if you're not here for it, then you better get here for it. Because really, the quietest thing would have been they all skipped the race, right? I mean, it would have been a stink the day of, but now we've got the horse is here. Now he's here. He could be here. He could be here, and that's crazy.
That's just it. Like, I mean, not to say that, not like I'm like say that Bob Baffert is wrongfully accused or whatever, but at the same time, one, he's not the only one doing it, and two, we've created a system in which way that you can do it, and and it is what it is, right? Like he's the face. He's obviously successful enough to where his horses are running all the big races, and then when you test positive in the Kentucky Derby, you become the face of it, right? So.
Yeah, for the worst reasons.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's actually get to some racing here and not Bob Baffert racing. All right, let's do it. Let's see. Louisiana Derby. All right, let's head to Louisiana Downs for race 12 on Saturday. Of course, that's the Grade 2 $1 million Louisiana Derby It is a Kentucky Derby prep race. It's the last of their series out there, and it's the first 100-point race of the year, 140, 20, 10 for your top 4 finishers of said Kentucky Derby. And you've got a field of 9 led by number 6, Epicenter. This horse obviously has been very, very good this year. His one loss, though, this year has been to a horse, the 3-horse, Call Me Midnight, who upset him back in the comp. So now you've got him returning. He took the Risen Star off. Now he's back. 6-1 on him. You got 7-5 on Epicenter. He continues to stretch out. Don't forget, mile 3/16. They keep stretching out. Some tracks know how to do that, where you go a mile 16th, or a mile 1/8, and then you go a mile and 3/16. That's a great distance. Asmussen loved that idea because this horse continues to improve with each added distance. Here he shows up, Halterman, at 7-5. There are some contenders in here. Pioneer Medina is not awful. You've got Call Me Midnight, Zozos for Brad Cox at 8-1, who's kind of a new shooter. But Epicenter, this is his race to lose.
He shouldn't lose it. I mean, it's just that simple. The big thing, and you've kind of made a case for it a little bit on the show we did, the reaction show. It's like, well, maybe he was just really primed, and that was his race last time out, and you know, he was just perfect for that day. And I kind of agreed with you, but the problem that I had as far as, okay, let's try to beat him, who with? Just nothing really catches the eye. Yes, I know the 3-horse Call Me Midnight did beat him in the comp day. I just feel like that was a flukish type of win. I don't want to back him, especially at a much shorter price in the spot. The Brad Cox trains Zozos, the 2-horse. He is the most interesting one of the bunch, right? And we don't know what he is, but he is 2 for 2. The horse he beat in that maiden special weight came back to romp at Oaklawn. And of course, the second race for Zozos was at Oaklawn in an allowance romp. Look, he might be the goods. And if he is, maybe he can challenge Epicenter. But Epicenter is a tough horse to show up against in your first time against stakes horses. So that's where you're at. If you want to take a shot with those, I don't blame you. But for me, Epicenter looks pretty tough to beat in this spot.
Yeah, it's a big day for Asmussen. With you got Echo Zulu, of course, in the race before that. We'll talk about that in rapid fire, and then you've got this horse Epicenter. Winchell has a couple good ones, but Epicenter is a horse that is definitely not going to benefit from the possibility of Messier joining the mix of the Kentucky Derby. Messier is a horse that has shown a lot of early speed, of course, and Epicenter is that's kind of his style as well. I do wonder, I keep going back to it, and I don't think I think he's a great horse, Epicenter. He made a big jump last out with that Risen Star. He went from an 88 to a 98 buyer that day, and I think that Risen Star was a huge, we've seen this before where, Asmussen gets one of these horses like to pop at fairgrounds, but can he carry that over? Like, I'm not so sure that this horse is I think he's good, but not great. Epicenter, that is. And I think it's going to be a factor of the right horse is going to have to he hasn't had to beat much, really. He just kind of goes out in front and rolls. And this loss was, a day that he maybe did a little bit more dirty work than the others, and Call Me Midnight ran him down. To me, I think Call Me Midnight's the only horse that could beat him here.
I think with Epicenter, the big key, you said it, was that improvement last time out. If he doesn't, he won that race easy, but if he doesn't show that kind of improvement, that may have got close between him and Smile Happy in the Risen Star, right? I mean, he did have to run a much better race than he had in the comp day to beat him. But the thing is, I liked the improvement came with more distance. That was the big key to me. Like, if it was just both races, a mile and 16th, it's like, oh, he jumped up, he got better. But this was like the distance got longer. There was speed in there. He just cleared them. No big deal. I like that. And I really like speed going long on the dirt in this country. I just do. It's just one of my favorite angles. You just kind of look at who wins the big time races. It's usually on the front end, right? Like, look at Knicks Go. Look at Life is Good. Look at a horse. If you're going to throw in Flightline, they win on the front. And that's just what they do. So I think Epicenter, if he can improve with more distance here, obviously they're running for second. If he runs the same race, they're still running for second. I'm curious to see, boy, how does he look when we stretch out again? Because he seems to me the type that can go fast and keep going no matter how long they go. And if he's that type, he's a gun runner type early in the 3-year-old year, just like he did down here. He just smoked them. And Epicenter kind of looks like that type of horse to me.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I mean, he's the pick here. There's, he possesses all the early speed, and anyone that does, I don't necessarily think they can touch him, because we know that Epicenter is going to go, and that seems to be the case. That's why I do like, if you're going to play an upset, play Call Me Midnight, just because he's proven that he can beat him in the past. And if there is some sort of meltdown, the key with him though, that day he won, he popped. Like, that was his high, like, by far, an 88 buyer. Well, Epicenter went from 88 to 98 last time out. So he's going to have to do the same thing that Epicenter did last out. Very possible, very well could. Zozo's, I guess, is the other one. I don't know. I think he's like a hit the board candidate. But he's very lightly raced. Only ran twice. He's looked good. He dominated last time out at Oaklawn. Brad Cox has success with shipping horses like this to fairgrounds, but the running style for this horse, like, he's going to have to be really good to one, stay close, and two, have enough kick to run Epicenter down in his first time going long, and his first time, going this long, I should say. And obviously first time in stakes company.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, I'll bring up what Christopher says here. He says the point about I like speed going long. And he says there hasn't been a change in the leader of the Louisiana Derby since it moved to a mile and 3/16. Hot Rod Charlie, Wells Bayou. And what he means is gate to wire winners. Here's the deal. Call Me Midnight is a come from behind horse. And a big myth in racing is, well, the longer they go, the better horses like that will run. And it's actually the opposite. You want that closer usually will run better and make a stronger closing kick when they go shorter, because they haven't ran that far when they start to make their move. Here, Call Me Midnight's going to have to run 1 1/8 miles before he makes that move. Well, it stands to reason. He's going to be a little more tired. He's not going to have that zip, that pop, stuff like that when you get longer. And so that's the thing. That's why you see these big time races on the dirt in the United States, gate to wire a lot. Or if not gate to wire, you're sitting a length or 2 or 3 lengths off. You don't see a closer win these very often. And like Mark says, there is one exception. That's Zenyatta, and we've wrote books and videos and stories about this horse. That's how rare it is. That's why what she was doing was so incredible. Think of the horses that have competed at that level in their running styles that have been in her division. Rachel Alexandra got on the lead, right? Having a Grace sat 2-3 lengths off of it, right? So that's just it. You got to be close, 9 times out of 10 to win these type of races. Yeah,
I mean, I think Zenyatta and Mind That Bird 2009. Those are your exceptions, right? Because other than that, you're not gonna. These closers don't win like that. You just can't.
You can't.
Not at this level.
You can, but it's either a fluke, like, wow, the pace just got crazy and they walked home, or it's a freak type of horse, right?
Right. Yeah. You've got to be a freak horse, I think. And because, like, to your point, if you're a dead closer, that means and if they're going, and if you got a solid speed horse out front like Epicenter or Messier or whoever, the gap between those two horses in the race widens, right? Mm-hmm. So the horse in the back, the dead closer, has 2 options. One, to continue as they're going, and the gap widens, right? So that means you're basically needing that horse in front to come back to you. So if it's a quality horse, it's not going to happen. Or 2, you get the horse closer. Well, what's that mean? That means you're using more of that horse early in the race, where normally that horse is not being used and has that late punch. So the longer they get, you think, well, gosh, these horses, they're going longer. This horse has more time to. No, the horse is more tired because the horse has been running. That's why horses like Knicks Go and Life is Good, they stretch out and they get better because they're running these horses off their feet and early in the race. And then at the end, they just need to jog home really because no one can keep up with them late because they're all so fucking tired from trying to keep up with them the whole race.
That's why you hit it right on the head. And that's why, like with Forbidden Kingdom, when he stretched out for the first time, when you get a sprinter that's been 6 or 7 furlongs and he's got a ton of speed and you stretch him out for the first time to a mile and 16th, that's not the time to play against them, right? It's just not, because they've got that speed and they'll run you into the ground. The time to play against a horse like that would be when they stretch out and do it again, right? And then it's like, okay, now you got to prove it to me. And Forbidden Kingdom might do something. He might prove that to us, and that's another story altogether. But shaky pedigree, sprinter. If they're closers like this horse that Mark brings up, Caleb's Posse, he couldn't win at a mile and 16th because he was a closer. He didn't have that kick. But if he could have got out in front, maybe he does it. So that's a big key to handicapping in this country. Are these kind of angles that we're just trying to throw out there? A lot of times, like a maiden claimers will get overbet as well if they're going 2 turns and they're closers and they've hit the board. They get second, third, second. All that is just closing up and getting tired horses. A lot of times they'll get beat every time by a horse that's got early speed, and you may go, his figures weren't as good. Yeah, but this maiden claimer, he just don't have it. They're going to have to totally stop for a maiden claiming closer to win. And that's how you apply it to all the races that you see day in and day out. The dynamics really don't change.
Let's try to make a case here for the 7, Pioneer and Medina. All the talk of Todd Pletcher this year and all the horses he had and then didn't have, and we're still wondering, does he have any good ones? Of course, he got Charge It in the Florida Derby. Emmanuel's still, we'll see. Modonegal, those kind of horses. But Pioneer Medina is like kind of the one horse of Pletcher's barn that no one really talks about. Didn't run awful in the Risen Star, got 4th. I mean, would it be a total shock for this horse to finish top 3 and sneak into the Kentucky Derby?
I expect it, honestly. I expect him to run a pretty good race. You want to make a case for him. Well, he's got 2 straight races over this surface. He won one of them, and the other one he was 4th in a pretty good Risen Star, and he was close to 3rd. And now you got an easier field. You want to make a case for him to win. Well, you're probably hoping Epicenter doesn't show up, right? But this horse is probably just going to sit behind him. He's not going to challenge him or anything like that. He'll sit behind him. He might turn for home. He should turn for home ahead of everybody else other than Epicenter. Maybe he just gallops out to the wire a little bit quicker than the rest of them. I think he can do it. I expect this horse to be in the Kentucky Derby because I think he's running 2nd or 3rd in this race.
Yep. Well-bred son of Pioneer of the Nile, of course, stretching out, shouldn't be an issue here. I don't necessarily think he's an overly, I don't see him as a major contender, but getting into the mix, I think he's one of those Pletchers that no one's talking about that definitely could get in and at least make some noise in this race on the hitting the board. Okay, I'm going to ask, just because people are going to ask us, and we got to rattle and roll.
I mean, him and Giant Game, any Roman's horse that he enters, it's all the same. It's not for me. If you guys want to back him, if you guys want to buy into what the trainer says, then that's fine. Go ahead and do it. It's not for me. He's not going to be on any of my tickets. He's not for me. He never will be for me. Even if he wins this race, he's still not going to be for me the next time.
I agree. So there you go. If anybody's asking, cue that part of this show. Rattle and roll. Steve wants to know about Capuna, Calhoun horse that's been working well. Been hearing reports that this horse is Capuna Matata. Hey, you know what? I appreciate the Lion King reference. I know all about that. What do you think?
I guess as an upsetter, maybe gonna just have to move up. I mean, that's all there is to it, right? I mean, so if he's working out well, personally, I don't care about workouts. I'm not saying that they're worthless. I'm just saying I can't. First of all, I can't analyze a horse in the morning and how they look. It's just not a talent of mine. And I don't know, like if he's working out great, then, and people are saying it, that's great. He's going to have to move up a lot. So if you want to use him underneath, I think it makes sense. But I think a lot of them make sense in this situation, right?
He's got some, his running line. He's pretty well bred. He's got some interesting running lines. I don't, he got beat by Cyberknife on debut. He also got beat by Cyberknife last out. Of course, Cyberknife is going to go and run into the Arkansas Derby. So that's a pretty good horse. Well, I mean, all things considered. I mean, I think Capuna is definitely a horse that, I mean, he needs to improve. He needs to improve by, that's just it. If you're assuming Epicenter doesn't regress any and just stays the same, he's going to have to improve 20, let's just call it 18 points to be safe. Capuna is, and it's it's possible, but that's a lot. To me, he's a horse that third or fourth, I think that's where the level he's at. I don't think Cyberknife is like a super special horse, but I think he's an okay horse and he's getting beat by him. So to me, he's in that third, fourth range, Capuna.
Yeah, I think you said it best. Yeah, I think that makes sense for him. He, like I said, he is coming out of a race that produced a pretty nice, prospect. But like you said, Cyberknife, I don't know. Like I've been high on his talent, but he's kind of goofy, and I don't know. I feel like he could have been a little closer to him if he was going to maybe show out here, right?
All right, the question's coming. How many? I'll set this at now. Again, it's a 100-point race, 140, 20-10 for your top four. So you get first and second, you're in. Third, you've got a shot. So let's call it 3.5 because you've got Epicenter who's already got the points. So we're talking about Pioneer, Medina, Rattle and Roll. I mean, some of these horses, Capuna, we talked about. Call Me Midnight, who obviously Zozos. 3.5 seems like a fair number, over under of this race in the Kentucky Derby.
Well, you got to analyze the points situation. I believe Epicenter and Pioneer Medina will be in. Maybe one more. Because somebody's got to finish second or third. So Pioneer Medina gets one spot. Who's going to get the other? You got Call Me Midnight that has points. You got Rattle and Roll that has points. My guess is 3. I think 3 get in out of this.
Yeah, I'd go under as well. I think 3 is right. Even 2 is possible. Just because you've got, obviously Epicenter is going to, if he wins, you're assuming he wins, he's already got 64 points. So, I mean, he's already locking that up. And then past that, I mean, Call Me Midnight has 10. So really, he just needs to, he could even sneak in with finishing fourth. The third definitely gets him in. So really, you're not, Pioneer Medina has 5. Does Rattle and Roll have? He's got
10.
Yeah, he's got 10 too. So yeah, dude, it could be over. They're gonna, one of these idiots is gonna not run well. So
yeah,
3, but that's pretty crazy because you're talking about a third of the field of the Louisiana Derby being in the Kentucky Derby, which is solid. I mean, this has been a good series this year.
It has been a good series, and honestly, this is the worst race of the series. That's what sucks for the fairgrounds, because the last race was great, and this race is. Listen, it does have Epicenter, and he's really good, and maybe he wins the Kentucky Derby. I don't think that's impossible, but after that, it gets a little dicey. He's facing weaker horses here than he faced in the prep for this, which is something you don't see very often, but it does happen.
All right. You and I are both on number 6, Epicenter. He's a serious contender, of course, for the Kentucky Derby. All right, let's shift a little bit. We'll get back to Derby talk. Let's shift a little bit. The other big race of the day, of course, this will happen before the Louisiana Derby on Saturday. It's the Dubai World Cup day. $12 million Dubai World Cup in Meydan Racecourse, race 9 on the program, the last race of the day. We'll talk more about this card here in a little bit. Going 1.25 miles. We talked about how fast Life is Good and how that early speed works so well for him. Guess what? He's in this race. Yes, he's a 7 horse. Don't even ask. He's in the rail. I think it's the most confusing thing ever. But he's number 1 on the rail, but he is a 7 horse. Life is Good. Todd Pletcher making his first return since the dominating effort in the Pegasus World Cup. 4-5 morning line favorite. No shock there. Now, listen, Hot Rod Charlie has been great. He's been great last year. He had a nice race under his belt at Meydan earlier this year. Hot Rod Charlie at 3-1. Midnight Bourbon, the old knocking, we talk about Aspies, and this is a horse that obviously was very familiar with the fairground circuit as well as a 3-year-old. Midnight Bourbon at 10-1, ran a really good race again last time out. Country Grammar, I'll throw him in there as well for Bob Baffert, 8-1. That's 8-1 seems like insane. I don't know how you get 8-1, but I hope you do. So those are to me, and maybe you have another one. Those are easily your top contenders here, but it all goes through Life is Good.
He should chew them up and spit them out. That's where I'm at with Life is Good. I mean, maybe you make a case for Country Grammar, but he couldn't beat a horse from Saudi Arabia last time out, so I don't know about that. Hot Rod Charlie, forget it. You don't have any chance to beat Life is Good. Midnight Bourbon, I mean, he can't beat anybody. He can't win any race. So if he beats Life is Good, you just throw your hands up.
If you're using Midnight Bourbon in any spot other than the second and third spots, you're wasting your money. Let's just put it that way. Do not box Midnight Bourbon ever in anything. Play him. Key him in your second and third spots. Always. Anyways, continue.
I mean, he's the fastest horse in the world, and he's drawn the rail on a track that favors speed. I can't see how he's supposed to lose this race. That's where maybe Country Grammar comes out and challenges him, and we finally get that pace duel that we've been thinking we might get with him. But Nick's Go didn't really go out and challenge him. So it could just be a situation where Life is Good's kind of the boss and they just kind of do what he wants. I guess the big question is, he stretches out again to 1.25 miles. So if you think that's a problem, maybe you play against. But, we kind of just went over this, right?
Yeah. Let's rewind.
A speed horse stretching out from 1.8 miles to 1.25 miles is probably just going to be better. I think he just annihilates them. I really do.
Let's not forget how, and I think it came back to be, I don't want to say unimpressive, but you go into the Pegasus and you're assuming this massive race between him and Nick's Go, and it's going to be this battle, and it's going to be a race for the ages. And Life is Good just beat the shit out of him. And I think it's easy to be like, well, Nick's Go didn't fire, and maybe he didn't fire to his utmost top tier performance. But at the same time, you go back and you look at the race and you read the quotes from the connections of from Pletcher and from Irad and from Syaz and Cox, and it's like, I mean, Life is Good just fucking went. Like he just and Nick's Go, they had no option, and so I just think Life is Good is on a different stratosphere right now when it comes to speed and when it comes to just talent. And he showed it in the Pegasus. I don't see that changing here. I guess your only concern is what if we have an arrogant moment here in Dubai where he doesn't break well, and he all of a sudden the rail can work amazing for you as the one spot, but if you don't break, it can be the worst. And he gets shuffled back. And then what happens? We don't know what he's like not on the lead. Is he, can we see another arrogant performance from him or from this race? So I guess that's the only concern, is if he doesn't break. But again, that's like he's literally never not broke in his career. And so that's really, to me, I don't know. I mean, Country Grammar is interesting at that price. I assume you're not going to get that price, but he's interesting. But I'm with you. Hot Rod Charlie, I love him. Can't touch him. Midnight Bourbon, love him. Can't touch him.
With Country Grammar, I'm mildly interested in him, but wouldn't you think that he's gonna regress a little bit off that race in Saudi? Like, he ran his butt off in that race. It was the first one off a long layoff. Now he ships to Dubai. I don't think he's going to run quite as well. Like, logic would tell you that. I don't know. Maybe Baffert's got the secret, but
I was going to say all logic would say that, but considering who he's trained by, I think he is dangerous in this race. But again, I'm going to need that price. He's going to need to be like fourth or fifth choice for me, third choice even. He has been really good. He got second when he came to Baffert, and then of course won the Gold Cup. Should have won, could have won the Saudi Cup. Going this long, he has won going this long before. So that's that's the interesting part as well. He's ran well. So yeah, I think it's possible. It's all going to factor if Life is Good just isn't himself, isn't great, because if he's anywhere close to what we expect and where he's been, then I don't think anybody can touch him. I think he kind of cruises.
Yeah, exactly. And as Michael Meyer points out, who is Country Grammar's trainer? He ain't performing worse than last race. Well, that's true. I didn't think about that, I guess, because that's true.
I think that try is, you might as well go ahead and just, if you, whatever you're, plan on what you're going to buy from, because you're going to hit that try. I think that's it. So just go ahead and, it's locked up, Michael. The try Life is Good over Country Grammar and Hot Rod, Country Grammar, Hot Rod, and Midnight Bourbon in your third spot there. So I think that's way possible. It seems very likely. You might get Hot Rod's. I think he's going to run. I think that's the thing. He's so dependable, but I just don't think he can win.
Well, and how are they going to ride Hot Rod? Like, is he going to do what he did in the Breeders' Cup Classic and just kind of try to get second, not challenge?
Yeah,
that's a big key there, because if they ride him like that, he should get second or third, and it shouldn't be much drama. What if they try to go after? I don't think they will, but what if they do? Well, then he might get burned out. So I don't know. He's one that he has the ability, I don't think, to go with Life is Good, but to at least kind of be closer to him. So how he's ridden will be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, and the one thing you can say with Hot Rod is, he ran a good race last time out in Meydan, going a mile 3/16 on the track. He's got that under his belt. I think that's a great sign. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit longer here, barely, but I mean, to me, Hot Rod is a horse that they go to mile, they go mile and a quarter, go 2 miles. He's going to give you that gritty, gutty effort and be, underneath.
Yeah.
Unless he catches a field like he did, like in the Louisiana Derby where he won, the Haskell, the Pennsylvania Derby, those types of races, right? Like that's his caliber. He gets in the Classic, he gets in San Antonio, these kind of races. He's very good. Cut below, second, third spots for me. I don't think he's a threat to win. Life is Good. He is the biggest thing for him is staying healthy, right? Because we see a lot of times when they go over here to Dubai and they come back, it's forever before we see them again. Maybe they, if you look at Arrogant, he was never the same after Dubai. If he can stay healthy, I don't know how he loses a race all year, and that's including the Breeders' Cup Classic.
To me, his biggest test is the race coming up after this. And you say, well, that's weird. You don't even know what it is. Yeah, but coming back, how will he be? And can he stay healthy? Ask Nick's Go. It bothered him going over to Saudi. It took a race before he got straightened out. Ask Arrogant, like you said. So, sometimes they come back and they're fine. And sometimes this race and this shipping, it really takes a lot out of them. So that's a big question mark, how he comes out of it. As far as this race, I want you to think about something. And I'm not saying that he's 15 lengths better than these horses, but I want you to think about something. Say he breaks and he clears, and the way that surface plays over there to speed, he might beat them by 15 lengths. Seriously, he might. It would be like, oh my God, what have we just seen?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything that he does well, that track plays to it perfectly.
Yeah. I think you'll know the race is over. Kind of like I always said with Nick's Go.
Yeah.
And like I said, in the Pegasus, like when they hit the first turn, you're like, this race is over.
Yeah.
It's over. And I think you're going to be able to say the same thing about this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that he's 20 lengths better than Hot Rod Charlie. I'm saying the way that thing sets up usually, and again, it may not play that way on Saturday, but it usually plays the speed. If it all plays like normal and it plays right into his hands, holy cow. Like it could be just a ridiculous type of performance.
Post time for the Dubai World Cup on Saturday in Meydan is 12:30 Eastern time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, so 11:30 Central. So you're going to make sure you want to watch that one, whether you bet it or not. Life is Good looks to be the strong favorite here. We both have him on top to win the Dubai World Cup.
This comment from Mark is a great one. He says, if the race takes so much out of them, then why do 3-year-olds use the UAE Derby as a prep for the Louisville on only 6 weeks rest? Exactly. Why do they? And name one that's come over here and done anything, because it's hard. They can't do that.
I really think when it comes to an American going over there, I really think they do that just to get in. They're trying to get in. That's it.
Yeah.
Because there's no other, they don't ever do anything. Nothing comes from no U.S. horse that goes over there and runs. And then if they get into the Kentucky Derby, it doesn't do anything.
Mm-mm. It's very, very difficult. Like I said, Michael Myers said it, money. That's why they do it.
If you ever can find a horse that wins at Meydan, then goes and wins the Kentucky Derby, it's a good horse.
And he brings up Mendelssohn, and there was no doubt. I didn't think Mendelssohn could win, but I thought, okay, if one's going to do it, it's him, right? Like that looked like a legit performance, and he was last. So
yeah, he did not like the day at Churchill Downs that day, not even a little bit. The UAE Derby is a $1 million race.
Yep,
Michael. So, other than, like your Arkansas Derby, of course, which is over $1 million, but, these big preps at the end, so if you're saying, oh, I'm not a good enough horse to win the Arkansas, I'm not a good enough horse to, win one of these other preps, like go to the UAE. And I mean, you don't have to be like Pinehurst could definitely win this race, know? And I don't think he's an overly great horse, but look who he's facing. So,
well, on Pinehurst, even if he does win this race, he ain't going to be in the Kentucky Derby because they didn't switch him. He's still with Bob Baffert.
Yeah, Pinehurst is going to stay over there, I'm thinking. So,
yeah.
All right. Let's do some rapid fire. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, time for some rapid fire presented by the Inside Track to the 2022 Louisiana Derby. That's right. Get the all-inclusive 13-page wagering guide to the 2022 Louisiana Derby. This Saturday, March 26th at Fairgrounds Racecourse features in-depth analysis of all 8 stakes on the card. There's 8 stakes total on the card on Louisiana Derby Day, including, of course, the $1 million Louisiana Derby that we just talked about. Get bonus race-by-race analysis, betting suggestions, multi-race plays for the entire card. Every race covered in this guide. Go get it at racingdudes.com. On the products page, it's available right now for download. All right, let's stay, before we go back to Fairgrounds for the Oaks, let's stay in Meydan. Earlier on the card, race 5, that of course is the UAE Derby, $1 million race for 3-year-olds, of course. It's a Kentucky Derby prep race. That's right, 140, 2010. So yeah, it's the same thing as Louisiana Derby. Crazy enough. For your top 4 finishers, going a mile and 3/16, another mile 3/16 race today or on Saturday. So $1 million. We've talked about this a little bit before we hopped on here. You got a large field of 16, and you're not going to get anything coming. I mean, we just never seen like horses don't produce Derby. This race does not produce a Derby winner or even a Derby legit contender. But you do have Pinehurst in here for Bob Baffert, who, of course, can't win points, but looked really good last time out in Saudi. So Pinehurst, Halterman, 3-1. You got 5-1 on Combustion. Those are your kind of top contenders here. 6-1 on Azure Coast. How you looking at this field?
I went with Combustion, the 6-horse from Japan. If you watch the Saudi Cup day, boy, the Japanese horses really stood out. And one race they didn't win was the Saudi Cup Derby, which was won by Pinehurst, and another Japanese horse, the number 13 horse in here, was second. But I think Combustion, stretching out to a mile and an 3/16, I should say, I think that's going to be interesting to see how that horse does. The horse has never been worse than second in 5 starts. Godolphin owned and trained, or owned and bred, I should say. And so I think number 6, Combustion, will be pretty tough to beat in this one. So I'm going to go with the Japanese runner.
Yeah, I like that pick. I almost picked that horse. I was going price hunting as well. Pinehurst, deservingly favorite after winning in Saudi, but I'm going to try to beat here. There's a lot of speed, I think, in this race as well. And so I ended up going with the 3 Quality Boone, another kind of new shooter, so to speak, in terms of some of these horses. But, Quality Boone, if you watch that race last out at Meydan, just came from way out of it and just kept coming. That was a mile 3/16 race after stretching out from a mile. Really showed that last kick there that I think is going to be needed in a race like this that is going to have a lot of speed. Now, obviously, if Pinehurst keeps going, he'll be tough to run down. But I do think that Quality Boone has that ability to kind of just keep coming. He showed that once he stretched out, this is a horse that went 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, a mile, ran pretty well, but second, third, won one of those, won a couple of them. Then he goes to mile 3/16 and looks really good and just kind of cruised home by the field. So I think the 3 Quality Boone, the longer the better, and you get that distance again. Plus, you're getting 15 to 1. I'm gonna need a price. Frankly, I'm gonna need a price here in order to. I like your horse as well. I think trying to beat Pinehurst makes a lot of sense. You can argue that going longer is not necessarily this horse's cup of tea. So you could try to get creative here and try to beat the favorite with, like Exacta or some sort of win bet. What about the other American in here, Gilded Age for Bill Mott, Luis Saez aboard? Here's a Withers horse, early voting on Uno, the one-eyed horse that won the Rebel. Gilded Age finished 3rd that day. Any thoughts to this one?
I have Gilded Age 2nd. I'm going to play a 6-9. Yeah, that's right. 6-9 Exacta here. Combustion with Gilded Age. I got this horse 2nd. You talked about Pinehurst, and this horse I don't think wants to go much longer than what he did last time out. I think Gilded Age is going to love going this distance. I think it's odd that they brought him over here, but I think it makes a lot of sense for him going this long. That last race was the first stop of the year and ran pretty good in the Withers. I think he improves. I like Gilded Age. I've got him in 2nd. I think he will outrun Pinehurst in this spot.
Gilded Age is owned by the Magic Mike team, so I'm sure they'll win this race because they win this race every year. It feels like I don't know. I don't know how they get horses in this race, but it always seems like they appear here. Gilded Age, I think, is a very fair price at 10 to 1 as well. So how about you play a 3, 6, 10? How about that? 3, 6, 10. Exacta box. You can play that. That'll pay very well in this race. You and I, different horses, but we're going against Pinehurst in the UAE Derby. All right, let's go to the fairgrounds. Back to the fairgrounds, and we've got maybe an easy one, but it is a horse that we haven't seen in a while, right?
That's right.
I think we're all excited to see back. Of course, that's Echo Zulu. All right. Let's go back to Fairgrounds for race 11 on Saturday. TwinSpires.com Fairgrounds Oaks, grade 2, worth $400K for fillies, 3-year-olds going to 1. It was 16th miles. A Fairgrounds Oaks is a Kentucky Oaks prep race, 140, 2010 for your top 4 finishers. Field of 6, but look no further, folks, from the 1 horse. Echo Zulu, 3 to 5. Morning line favorite. She's never been beaten and never been close to getting beat. And we've not seen her since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, where she dominated that day. She's back. She's looking to make her debut for her 3-year-old debut, and of course make a prep race into the Kentucky Oaks. Echo Zulu. This is a more of a single than the Epicenter is in the next one.
I think so. Now, on the first show we did, I said, I'm not sure because I don't know who she's going to face. Yeah, she's going to, she will have to have taken a massive step backwards to lose, because the second horse as far as the morning line odds go is Hidden Connection. She absolutely murdered Hidden Connection last time they faced each other. And then Hidden Connection ran last time out and got beat by a bunch of donkeys. It didn't improve at all. I mean, to me, she's got, and Christopher said, if there was ever time to play against Echo Zulu, it's now. And I don't disagree, but he also says, but damn, the rest of these horses are garbage. Exactly. That's the problem. Like, I kind of looked at this as if you're going to beat her, this is the time. Let's dive into this field. And I dove into the field and thought, you got to be kidding me. She can regress, 10 buyer points and win this. So look, if she loses, just scratch her name off for any kind of major race next, right? I mean, it just means that she is flat out not ready to run, because this is not a good group and she ought to be able to handle them pretty easily.
You talked about a field of donkeys. Turner Lose, the 2-horse who beat Hidden Connection and last time out in that Rachel Alexandra, this, Brad Cox horse who was trying dirt for the first time. They call it determined on the chart, but we'll call it rebroke. And just, whether, didn't get it. I mean, that's the thing. Got an 81 buyer for the effort, and Echo Zulu has gotten at least 9 points better than that buyer every single time she's ever ran. So it's going to take a huge effort for a horse like Turner Loose, who, of course, won that prep to beat her here. I can't help. You got to keep. To me, it's been so long since we've seen her, but long before the Secret Oath talk, for anyone knew who Secret Oath was, it was Echo Zulu who was like, "Why not face the boys when she, why not go to the Derby Trail? I mean, this horse is a freak. We haven't seen her. Obviously, it's taken some time to get her back. She's back. Let's not forget the talent that she was or is, and I think she's going to showcase it here big time. So I'm with you. I think I don't know who can beat her if she comes back like you assume, right? If she comes back like we've seen her or we saw her last year, I don't know who can touch her.
I think, and again, I don't think she will, but I think the one you can make, I don't even want to call it a case, but just like a thought for, is the Pletcher, right? The horse has coming in from Gulfstream, has looked pretty sharp in a couple of races. Obviously got to move up big time from a speed figure standpoint, but at least has looked decent. And so maybe if Echo Zulu doesn't show up, maybe that horse can jump up and beat her. I mean, you say it out loud and it's like that's not smart to say, but that's where.
But what about the Kentucky Oaks? I mean, I guess if Secret Oath obviously doesn't, if they still go to the Oaks route, and no matter what happens in the Arkansas Derby, she's a threat, right? But otherwise, like who would you feel threatened to beat Echo Zulu? Yeah, all things considering, she comes back and is the horse she was.
I don't even think Secret Oath can.
Mm.
Because I think she's going to get too far out in front of everybody. Listen, we saw Malathot do it last year. Go one prep and go and win. Yeah, as long as she shows up and runs really, really well here, she's the favorite without any question, right? So I just don't think you're going to be able to beat her, in this spot. And then if she shows up and runs really well, I don't know. I don't think you can beat her.
All right, we're both on Echo Zulu. No shocker there in the Fairgrounds Oaks. Definitely a horse. Definitely a race you're gonna, unless you're singling her in a sequence of some sort. Definitely just to sit back and watch kind of race, so you can obviously see how she returns off of the long layoff and if she's a legit Kentucky Oaks threat like we think she is. All right, let's go to the next day, the last race here. Another Derby prep, the feature race of the weekend, Sunday, at Sunland Park, race 11. It's a grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, Kentucky Derby prep race. 50 points, though, for this one. 50, 20, 10, 5. Race 11 goes off at 5:15 Mountain Time on Sunday. Halterman, normally this is a race that you see, we kind of thought a couple weeks ago, we thought McLaren Vale was going to go here, right? And that seemed like, lock it up. That horse is going to win. No doubt about it. And it kind of surprising considering the news of today. Like, wouldn't that have been an easy route to just throw McLaren Vale into this race, go and dominate, get the 50 points, and now you're in the Kentucky Derby with not, quote unquote, not Bob Baffert. We didn't see that. But we do have number 4, Slow Down Andy, another California horse, another California trainer, Doug O'Neill, 2-1 morning line favorite. Last time we saw this horse was at the fairgrounds, and he struggled a little bit. But, of course, this is the horse that beat Messier. Where do you stand on Slow Down Andy?
He could run better here. He obviously got a much, much, much easier field. So it's possible, but I'm not with him, and especially not at 2-1. I like Jim Rome's horse. I like Straight Up G. The horse came in and won the local prep from this. Really, his biggest challengers are back here. Like, there's not any new shooters that I'm real worried about. I like Straight Up G. I think he gets it done. And the biggest thing is gate to wire, I think, right? I mean, look at this horse. I think he's got more speed than everybody else. Going a little bit longer. Maybe he stretches out and kind of slows down the fractions on him and still has a lot left. So I'm going to go the 8 horse Straight Up G. I'm not going to single, though. I think this race is pretty wide open. I think you can go a lot of different ways here. But on top, I am going to play number 8 Straight Up G.
I did the preview of this on our YouTube page. Go check that out on our YouTube page. Go find it on racingdudes.com. I did the preview with Magic, and but I said, it's like normally this is the kind of race where the 8 makes so much sense because speed. Just get to the front, go to Sunland, go to, I'm wondering how far this horse goes, though. I'm a little worried. That last race he looked spent, and he got everything his own way in that one. I mean, there was no challengers. It was not a fast pace necessarily. So I'm wondering if the extra distance here going a mile and 1/8 will be enough to do him in. One of our favorite horses, Bye Bye Bobby, was coming up running. And ever since that horse has left his effort there at the Springboard Mile, which was not good. I can't believe I think we both picked that horse, and I cannot believe we did. Just goes to show you how far we've come on the Derby trail. But he has been very good since. Well, he's been good. He's been more of the level of this level. So I think he's a challenger. I hate the price at 2-1, but I think the class enough with Slow Down Andy he can get it done here. I'm not going to bet him at 2-1. You're asking me who I think is going to win. I do think Slow Down Andy can win this race. He gets blinkers on. He's going to be closer. I think Doug O'Neill wants him to be closer. Then he was way too far back in the Risen Star off the layoff. Of course, since the Los Alpha Charity. I don't think he's as bad as the Risen Star. I don't think he's as good as the Los Alpha Charity. I think he's somewhere in between there, which I still think is good enough for him to kind of sit off the pace of that 8 horse and kind of run him down late. So I don't think he's overly impressive, but I do think he finds a way to sneak into the Kentucky Derby by winning this race. So I like the 4-5 a little bit here on top, but I like the 4 on top. Slow Down Andy. I hate that race, and I hate that horse, and I especially hate that price. But to me, it's the 8 makes so much sense. I get why you picked the 8 because speed, right? I get it. If he can transfer his speed to a mile and 1/8, then he'll win. I no doubt about it. But I'm just wondering if that last bit of that race, because he looked gassed in that last effort.
He did. I wouldn't pick him normally, but it's just like, and look, like no Baffords, no Pletchers. Like usually Pletcher will bring one over for this. That's not too bad, but it's like he did look gassed in that race, but he's got to basically beat the same horses again. There's just not much else here, unless you're going to play Slow Down Andy.
What's the? I didn't really. I guess I could ask you. I might as well. Who gives a shit? But over under. I'll put it at what? God, 0.5.
Oh, over. The winner's going. No doubt.
It's not a fair one though, because that's easy. The winner's going, but 1.5. You're gonna say under.
Well, yeah. So you're screwed as a bookmaker.
How about 1? You're gonna get a push here. So,
if you set it at 1, I would go under because maybe the winner gets hurt or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or the winner is like, if Straight Up G wins, I can totally see that horse not getting there.
Yeah.
Or say Bye Bye Bobby, or I guess Bye Bye Bobby would probably try. I think that horse is a mule, though. How about we didn't even talk about, you don't like either Asmussen, Classic Moment? That's an interesting one.
I like Classic Moment because of the Rosario factor. I think that's a big time upgrade. But you also have to say, okay, Classic Moment was 54-1 in the Southwest. The Southwest was fucking garbage.
It ran like a 54-1.
Yeah. So how good is this horse? Rosario ain't going to stand up and lift that horse up and on his shoulders and carry him. I mean,
and then the horses that we're talking about that are kind of trashy, Straight Up G, Bye Bye Bobby, they both beat this horse.
Yeah.
And and if you want to go watch the Mind That Bird Derby, which was the prep race for this one at Sunland, like classic moment, had the classic trip. Like he was there, he was in prime spot to make that kind of. If he was any good, he just cruises by them in news alert. He's not very good.
I totally agree. That was the last straw. I went back and watched it, and he looked like he was going to win, and he just ran in place. But he can win because that's how bad this field is, right? So, yeah, sure, he could win. And honestly, the last time I picked Bye Bye Bobby, he got beat by 23 lengths. So I was just not gonna do it. I wasn't gonna pick him again.
Where's the clip? I was gonna play that funny clip, but I don't even see it on our thing here. You need to upload it on here.
Oh, it's only on the Dudes Who Bet Sports.
You gotta add that here.
Yeah, have Magic add that.
Yeah, we gotta get that on there. I would have played that like 10 times by now, but I couldn't find it. So it's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes Premium button on the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, get your hands on that inside track to the 2022 Louisiana Derby wagering guide that's available right now at racingdudes.com. 13 pages. Go get it. Right now, you get it for free if you are a subscriber. Speaking of being a racingdudes.com premium subscriber, you can now compete against us. That's me. It's Halterman. That's Magic. It's Samich. Probably Dr. Miranda will get in on this as well. You compete against the dudes. An exclusive member-only pick and pray tournament at horsetourneys.com. The bi-weekly racing tournament kicks off April 1st. So next Friday, prove yourself against the dudes for a chance to win $150 cash prize. Plus, you get cash prizes to pool, $10 to play. You get eligible if you're a premium. You get invited to play, $10 to enter. Of course, it operates like a cash game at Horse Tourneys. Plus, the winner will get $150 credit at horsetourneys.com, so you can play all the other tournaments. Of course, put that towards other NHC type things, like stuff like that. You can play against this. It's only available to premium subscribers. So become a premium subscriber. It's in your dashboard, and you can see the link there to sign up and go play against us. Should be fun. We're in. I think you're in. I'm not in yet, but I'll try to get in.
I was told I could not pick all fives, though.
You're not allowed. So
and that's how I pick on Horse Tourneys in all these tournaments because they're bullshit. So I always just pick all fives all the time.
Well, Samish seemed genuinely pissed that you were going to attempt that. So you cannot attempt that. So
all right, I got another strategy that I've been using. I can't give it away on.
All right. Well, go to racing.com. Become a subscriber. Get the Louisiana Derby wagering guide. Go sign up for the tournament that we're going to have next week. And the idea behind this is to do these, not just do them for this cash and stuff, but if we get enough, if people like them and we get enough people playing, we're going to have these be feeders into big tournaments later down the road for big cash prizes and things like that. But we need to see the support there. And if it is, then we'll do more of these. But we'll be doing these bi-weekly cash games in the future. So make sure you're a subscriber to get access to that. Remember, we're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram, Facebook. You can check out all episodes of Blinkers Off on our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, all the places that you listen to podcasts were available. Of course, you can watch all these live or watch them after the fact on our YouTube page. Just look for Racing Dudes on YouTube. The Magic Mike Show is coming up right after us. And they're doing, what are they doing? Fairgrounds, late pick 4? Don't know. You'll find out. I think it's the Fairgrounds pick 4. Maybe.
Sure.
They're doing some kind of pick 4. Yeah, the Fairgrounds Saturday late pick 4. So there you go.
Oh, want to pick 4 to cover.
Which one will play against Echo Zulu? I cannot wait.
That pick 4 might pay $8.
I don't make that. I just read what they did. So that's what they're doing.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just saying. Everybody make sure to tune into that.
Yeah. Hey, I got my KC shirt on. Support still. Got support. Even though we lost one of our own this week, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, peace out, dude. Yeah. I thought that was the craziest sports news today or this week, but then we got Bob Baffert, rearing his ugly head, and now
you hate to
what
see
are you
it.
gonna do?
You hate to see it, but more than that, you love to see it.
I don't love to see it, but I do think the Chiefs are in trouble this year for sure. I think it's I've had time to think about it. I'm probably in like the more acceptance phase of grief right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I've moved through the anger and the depression and the denial, but I do think that I do for the long term of Mahomes' career, it's a good deal. It's gonna, but the near term, especially when you look at all the AFC West moves, I should say, like they're like third favorites, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. Steve says, I'm trying to imagine Tua throwing the ball over 35 yards. Yeah. Tyreek, there's no doubt about it. This is not like a Chiefs fan that's just bitter. Like, there's no doubt he's going to having the idea of leaving Patrick Mahomes in his prime, if you're a wide receiver, seems dicey. I'm just saying. Like, he got paid. Congratulations. Chiefs offered him more money, but it was over a stretch of time. He got more guaranteed and obviously more per year. Tyreek did with Miami. So, for whatever. But, dude, Tua trying to make that pass. I see Samich is in the bottom here. He's really hating this talk. I'm sure he's already bought a few futures on Miami for the Super Bowl.
Maybe we should get a Dolphins fan's perspective on this.
Yeah, we should. Should we? Should we have him come in?
I don't know. That's up to you.
Yeah. What do you think, Samich?
I hate the contract. I like the picking him up. I don't have any interest in having him for like 5 years, whatever we sign him for. And I don't think Tyreek Hill should be that highly paid. But I'm excited to have some weapons around Tua because at least we will find out if he is good or not. Because that is the one thing. You need to find out now in the AFC if your quarterback's good. Because you've got Mahomes. You've got everybody pretty much, right?
Herbert, Russell Wilson, all these guys in the AFC West alone.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The NFC or the AFC is loaded from a quarterback perspective. And if you don't have a top 5 quarterback, it's almost impossible to win your conference. We got to find out if Tua's a top 5 quarterback, and we're going to find that out. To be clear, I don't think he is, but we're going to find that out pretty quickly here now that we actually have weapons.
Well, hey, and I don't. I'm kind of with you, even though I'm on the other side of this. Like, I don't blame Miami for going after him because that makes a ton of sense, and that you're kind of at the shit or get off the pot kind of moment with Tua. Like, it's either we got to find out if he's the real deal, and they've made, Mostert, and they've got Waddle, and now they got Hill, and they've got what's the tight end, Gesicki. They've got guys around them for sure that if he can't do it with these guys, but I cannot wait till when Tyreek's streaking down the field and he just misses him by 10 yards. I cannot wait for this.
Here's the thing though. Tua can hit open receivers. No one was getting open for Tua, and the offensive line was terrible. We also signed 2 offensive linemen in the offseason, so the offensive line should be bolstered. We've used 4 draft picks on offensive linemen the 2 previous year. That should be better. We have a better offensive-minded head coach. Probably not a better head coach, but a better offensive-minded head coach, and Mike McCarthy coming in, or McDonald coming in from San Francisco. So excited to see what he draws up, because this is the guy who was using Debo all over the place. So it's going to be fun to have him with Tyreek and Waddle and all these guys. So who knows? Maybe we're good this year. I will say there's already people talking heads on ESPN being like, Teddy Bridgewater should start with these weapons. I'm like, no, just shut up. We need to find out about Tua on his rookie deal so we can figure out if there's actually like a long-term plan here.
I agree. Halterman, you're being quiet.
My team signed a guy and gave him guaranteed more money than anybody in the history of the NFL with 22 sexual assault charges pending. So how am I supposed to even talk? Right
Did you see there's another indictment today?
Yeah, I just got a new one too. So
yeah. Well, you got to get $10 million per indictment, right? Is that the rule? 23 of them now.
Hey,
when I signed on 4 years ago to be a Browns fan, I had no idea it was this bad.
I reminded Halterman today too. I said, "Hey, listen, you're a Browns fan for life, my friend. So enjoy."
Yeah, wait,
and they wanted an adult, and they got a guy with adult charges now.
Is it worse to be a Browns fan or a Baker fan right now? I'm like, both of them. There's not a good route to take here.
A Browns fan.
Halter's both.
Yeah.
Well, a Baker fan, he might go be a backup to a team that's really, really good. So then we could get a Super Bowl ring, right? So
yeah, he's a Chase Daniel kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chase Daniel's gangster, by the way.
Yeah.
That guy has made $147,000 per pass he's thrown in the NFL.
The dude, and people don't even realize he's the backup of Herbert now.
Yeah.
So like no one realizes that now he's in this brand new stadium with this elite young quarterback, so he's never gonna have to play there either. And a very good team. Like he just
living in LA.
Yeah,
it's good, man.
Yeah, dude. That's like the best backup of all time. All right, that's a wrap. Magic Mike coming up next. What are you guys talking about? We the Fairgrounds late pick 4?
Yeah, we're talking about the Fairgrounds late pick 4. We're also going to give out 2 prices we like on the rest of the card because honestly, the Fairgrounds late pick 4 is pretty damn chalky. So we're going to talk about 2 prices we like earlier in the card, and then you can watch me sweat out the 15,000 I have live to the 7 in Elastic All Stream.
All right, you guys, if you're that's worth it alone. I'll be watching now. So if you're watching this, just stay right where you're at. The Magic Mike show is coming on right after this. All right, guys. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman.
And I'm Mike.
He's Mike. I'm Mike. Where's Magic when you need him? He's watching.
Yeah. All right. Let's switch rooms.
He's always watching.
See ya. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Blah blah blah. Make sure you check us out at racingnews.com. Magic Mike show coming up right now. Subscribe. Do all that bullshit that Magic talks about right below. Subscribe so you get alerted when we do these live.
Or be cursed.
All right. That's a wrap.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels, never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,